It is Friday on Raid Shadow Legends, but you knew that. Now, the Incarnate Fusion started yesterday, and many of you are probably still umming and ahhing over whether you want to do this or not. After all, if you've seen the Fusion plan, if you haven't, here it is. You will notice that at some point down the line, you are going to have to pull shards of this, whether you like it or not. The bonus event doesn't matter. You're taking some of your shard collection, however big or small it is, and it's going towards this legendary. So, how good is the Incarnate? Well, first off, I need to go to the index for this because it doesn't show properly otherwise. Watch this like. So, a lot of people have been saying this champion is a skip, that she's the worst fusion of the year so far, and I wouldn't say they're entirely wrong. There's definitely a drop in power level since what we've had so far, and as much as I don't really want to, and that's a good thing, the game did need to calm down a little bit, because after Funny 5th anniversary man, we could not keep pushing forward from there. You know it couldn't, I know it couldn't, Plarium knows it couldn't. There's a point where you gotta calm down. So what role does Incarnate offer to your team? Ignoring the whole thing about Arbiter, let's look at her as a base champion. So she's got yet another A1 provoke, because every champion has this nowadays for some reason or another. She's got a AoE that, well, you can read, can't you? And she has this. Now this is quite similar to an existing champion from the High Elves who was a previous fusion, Strategos Islin, who also has eye protection, also has a provoke, and also has something else to try and keep his team alive, or otherwise mess with their buff durations. And this is not the first time we've done this in the High Elves, because if we go back even further, we have Pixniel, who is still in the bottom 5 legendaries in the game. AoE freeze 4-turn cooldown. Got it memorized? Right. AoE freeze 4-turn cooldown also gives you turn meter. And this champion came out in 1996, and you can tell she's a very old champion by the design and her stuff clipping through her cape. So, back to Incarnate. You probably decided already right off the bat if you're going to fuse her or not, but there's a few things to think about. First off is she's High Elves, so if you have this champion, which is the High Elves faction unity, you're probably hoping for an extra High Elves champion to work with her, and if you didn't feel like using any of the other team defenders, then her being same faction may just be quite helpful towards you. Now, again, if you are a progressing player, then these are very progressing account effects. Defends your team, provokes Magma Dragon or Head of Decay, etc. And then you have these for if you're using her with Arbiter. Now, what I see for a lot of progressing accounts for Doom Tower, etc. is they will use Arbiter as an attack up, a heal, a revive, etc. and just her overall defensive stats as a way to not be the first to fall in the team. And using Arbiter with Incarnate is a way to have it so all 3 of your damage dealers, anyone else you're bringing for progression, will keep alive pretty handily. So she's good for that, and if you are using her with Finer. Now, where else is she useful? That's kind of case by case, because I would say, Curse City, anywhere else where you're only allowed to use Force Divinity, High Elves, Defense, etc. But that goes the same for every champion in the game, so I'm not going to mention too much in that regard. Stats are fine. I think at the end of the day, she's a support who doesn't have the support speed stat, otherwise has decent durability. Both of these could do with being a bit higher, I'd say, because 80 resistance or Actually, yeah, 80 resistance if it's a 5-man team. 80 accuracy is decent, but it's not going to change a whole lot. And the last thing to consider is, what can you do if you can't finish a fusion entirely? What if I just want the epic? Well, the epic is... I went over it last time, but it's not the most exciting champion in the world. It attacks, it doesn't really defend itself, it doesn't have the hardest hitting skills in the world. I feel you either do without entirely, unless you really, really just need an attack epic void, or just Elizabeth for faction wars, Curse City, etc. It's not the most exciting champion in the world. And the last thing I am going to mention is that what they do regarding, because with every fusion nowadays is always a hero's path or titan event, and if you can get a 4 or 5 star for Incarnate pretty easily, then the stat product will make her a bit more useful than if you just had, say, strategos, who was at 0 and was missing the HP, the defense, the blessing overall, and whatever else you would have. So that is something to consider. Again, look at the fusion plan. It's probably not the first time you've done this sort of thing, but yeah, that's my thought on the matter. And if you're asking me if I'm fusing her, no, I don't have finer. I'm past the point where I need Incarnate, and yeah. So that's it.